Now, that don't kill me, can only make me stronger. I need you to
Uh,
hurry up now. I
Cause
can't
I
wait
can't
much
wait much
longer.
longer.
Cause we back, Jay. We back with another one. We back with another one because I couldn't wait much longer, man. I got to talk some basketball. So much news, Jay. And as usual, your discretion is wise because if you can't handle the heat, stay out the kitchen,
Out the
man.
kitchen, man.
Hey, we back with another episode. I believe Hidden Takes episode what, Jay? I want to say 7, man.
I
We
want to
got a
say
lot.
7. I don't
Six,
know, Jay.
six,
It just
six or
keeps going
seven,
up,
man.
Jay.
Just keeps going on up, brother. But my boy, you're back from health and safety protocols. Jay, how are you doing, man?
Man,
Tell the
Jay.
fans what's up, man. Tell us fans what's been going on because I know you've been going through it these past few days, man. It's good to see you live and direct today, though.
Yeah, brother. I unfortunately had to enter health and safety protocols, Jay, because your
Yeah,
boy got COVID, man. I was out, Jay. It was crazy. I was telling you on the phone. I was like, dog, I'm sitting in a dark room. I can't
yeah.
look at no light. I'm throwing up, lightheaded. I was all out, Jay. So I had to enter health and safety protocols. But good thing we had you on the team, Jay. You carried the team for us. You know what I'm saying? Took over. You know what I'm saying? So, but I'm happy to be back, Jay. Happy to be talking some hoops with you, my brother. As always, man. Because like how you said, I can't wait to get into it. A lot to talk about.
Absolutely. And as usual, well, I'm glad you're back just first of all before we start, but let's get right into it. Let's not waste any time. Let's get right into the news as we usually do on these hidden take episodes. And the first kind of order of business, man, after 2 years plus and some change, that guy, and you know, I'm excited about this. That guy is back. Mr. Klay Thompson is expected and rumored to return on on Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers on January. What's that date? The 11th.
11th,
Yeah,
yeah.
the 11th. Man, Jay, this is a long time coming just for Hugh purists. Sorry, that's the ninth. That's the ninth. Sunday, the ninth. But anyways, man, he's back. Mark that down on your calendars. I believe like it's gonna happen. It's happening, man. I'm excited for that. But let's kind of just talk about. I know we saw the game, and I know I'm gonna be talking about that in our game summary last night about what kind of went wrong. We've seen kind of Steph kind of slumping, in my opinion. But I'll get more into that in detail in a little bit here. But just kind of this team is kind of in that stage where they're expecting this. The fans are getting kind of restless. They just want it to happen, including myself being a fan of the squad. But Jake, talk to me a little bit about what you're kind of feeling and what Klay returning means for not only the Warriors, the league, yourself, even. How are you feeling about that?
So I mean, shit, for the league, it means trouble. But for the rest of the league, it means trouble. For me, it means pure happiness, man. I love seeing great basketball. And like how you said, Jay, for those of us that are just hoop heads that just love to see the game of basketball played at its purest form, Klay Thompson is exactly that. That's exactly what you want. So as a hoop purist, you love it, man. But to answer the question for the rest of the league, I mean, that's trouble, man. I mean, right now we're looking at the Warriors sitting at the number 1 seed in the West with the number 1 defense in the league. And now you're going to add a player like Klay Thompson. And yes, I get it. Klay Thompson just came back from 2 honestly catastrophic injuries, you know, like back in the day before all these technologies. With 2 injuries like that, those are 2 career-ending injuries. And for him to come back, yes, he might be a step slower on the defensive end, but that's why you guys have A Wiggs, man. A Wiggs being there is just and that's, you know, I've been talking about that throughout the season so much, Jay. I've been telling you that A Wiggs, and when he contributes, the Warriors just are on a whole different level, man. And what's really making me feel honestly very excited about this Klay Thompson comeback is the fact that he's not going to have to get thrown into this, right? Like, not only are the Warriors the number 1 seed in a extremely deep team, but they have a player in Andrew Wiggins playing very good in that position right now. So it's not like Klay Thompson is thrown onto the fire and said, okay, we need you to be 2016, 2017 Klay Thompson, right? That's not what they need him. They need him to come in, knock some shots, get in the rhythm of the game. I mean, people talk about all the time. You got to get in game shape. Game shape. The only way to get in game shape is by playing in games. You know what I'm saying? Like you can run all you want at practice. You can run miles around your block at home, but the only way to get in game in shape is by being in the game. And I think Klay Thompson will have the leisure, will have the luxury to be able to work into game shape instead of having to come ready because of the super deep roster, man. So I think for the rest of the league, that's trouble, man. That's trouble. No telling what the Warriors are going to do. But I'm just excited, Jay. But I want to know, how are you feeling, Jay? As a Warriors fan, as somebody who saw Klay before he went down, felt it when he was down, and now that you're so close, Jay, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling I'm kind of waiting for it, but I believe it when I see it. That's kind of how I'm feeling it. I've been anticipating this for so long. Honestly, from the day he went down, when he went up for that dunk against Danny Green in the finals to now, I'm a huge Klay fan. I consider like Steph and Klay just like my favorite players and just favorite players to watch. Just the chemistry they have, so unique. And it's been a joy to see their careers blossom and to finally known, like I know so many people who know Klay personally, and I have ultimate nothing but good things to say about him. And I know how much you see the work that he's been putting on, and to see him finally get out there, man, it's just an emotional connection like no other, man. So I'm just excited for him. And you want just anytime you know that a person's a good person and just truly loves the game like that, you can only want the best for them. So I'm just excited to see him back on the floor. But I'll believe it when I see it. I just want him to get out on the floor. It's a little bit of
you just want it to
that
happen.
build up, right? Like we seen him hold up like the 6 fingers when he walked in the tunnel the other day, and that's just how I'm feeling. I'm counting down the days. It's kind of like that in between phase, and it's just
like
gonna be
Christmas
nice to see.
when you're a kid.
That's how I'm feeling. Literally, like it's coming. It's the eves. It's just like it gets slower. You know how it gets slower building up to it, but that's how I'm feeling about it. But anyways, we'll move the next order of line. Just kind of talk about the players of the month and the rookies of the month. In the West, we had Donovan Mitchell averaging 30 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists for the Utah Jazz. Cat was absolutely balling. A lot of reason to do with why the Jazz were playing such good basketball, and obviously they were able to stay afloat at the top of the West, just due to what D Mitch is doing. On the East side of things, Joel Embiid for the Philadelphia 76ers, averaging 29.2 points per game, 11.2 rebounds, and 3 assists. Obviously, still keeping the 76ers relevant, having them playing great basketball. And then push it to the rookie talk. What the rookies are doing, Josh Giddey averaging nearly a triple-double, and we saw what he did that historic night the other day. I feel like the players are going to keep, as they keep getting younger and younger, that this record is going to continue to get broken. The triple-double, the youngest player to do it. But anyways, he's averaging 11.8 points, John. 7 rebounds a game and 6.7 assists, man. I think a lot of people had him a little underrated ultimately, even including myself, bro. The dude just looked skinny and lanky when he came into league, but he's proven a lot of haters and doubters wrong. The next and truly the biggest surprise to me so far this season, and who's currently at the top of NBA released their rookie standings, and that's Franz Wagner, averaging 19.5 points per game, 5.1 rebounds, and 3.1 assists. Man, he's been playing some great basketball for Orlando Magic and doing a lot. I don't think anyone, if you ask them who would be the rookie of the year or even in consideration, I know this isn't the standings, John, but for Franz Wagner to be at the top right now, it says a lot about what he's doing, the work he's been putting on, and type of season he's been having ultimately.
Shout out Everyday Magic, Jay. Everyday Magic was calling this in the summer.
Yeah. Nah, but he had a lot of Jalen Suggs talk though. And the thing is, like, a lot of people, if you just look at their team and you tell me Jalen Suggs is obviously going to be the better rookie of the two.
Yeah.
You would have never thought like I never would have thought it. I don't know.
I wouldn't have either, Jay.
No
I wouldn't have either.
Bro, like I just a testament of, never count yourself out, never count a player out. And that's what he's going to do. that's just kind of like brief news. A lot of players have gone out with COVID. Obviously, breaking news recently: Drew Holiday and Rudy Gobert
Tough.
went out today, and that's kind of breaking now. But Jay, let's talk about something that already happened. You know, we talk about things that, well, we talked about the rookie of the month,
Mhm.
players of the month. Let's talk about things that already happened. And one of them, just a huge kind of event for maybe for the wrong reasons, a lot of for the right, but you love to see any superstar getting back to business and getting back in the game and playing, especially a magician like this cat. Kyrie Irving
Wow.
made his debut for the Brooklyn Nets against the Indiana Pacers. I know you watched that game last night. So let's talk a little bit about that and what you saw in that game, man. Just huge having Kyrie back, the magician. What did you see that game? I had 22 points. Talk a little bit about you saw in that game and recap.
Yeah, Jay. Honestly, man, Kyrie the magician. Honestly, just excited to have him back. I mean, we talk about all the time being hoop heads, being these hoop fiends. Like you want to see players that are just genuine hoopers, and that's what Kyrie is, man. So, like how you said, Jay, 22 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds, three steals, shot 52% from the field. But I mean, and I definitely want to give him his flowers and give him his praise. And I'll get to him real quick, but I just want to talk about real quick the man of the hour, KD, dog, 39 points, 7 assists, 8 rebounds, and 62% from the field, 100% from the free throw line. So let's talk about the game, and I'll get to the Nets more when I get to the second half, because this game realistically, Jay, was the tale of two halves, man. So the Pacers really took that first half, man, outscoring the Nets in both the first and the second quarter. I mean, they're really hitting everything. I mean, Lance was making them dance. He scored 20. He scored 24 of his 30 points, Jay, in the first half. So Lance was out there just killing stuff, hitting every shot, taking it to the hoop, hitting step backs, hitting the mid rangers, and the Pacers shot 65% from the field and 50% from three in the first half, compared to the Nets 50% from the field and 22% from three. So as you see, like the Nets just definitely got off to a rough start. And like I said, Lance was making them dance. Yeah, I just mentioned he had 30 points, 5 assists, 3 rebounds, shot 63% from the field, 100% from the free throw line, 50% from three, and Sabonis too, man. I would be remiss if I didn't give Sabonis a huge shout out, man. He had 32 points, 10 assists, 12 rebounds, big career triple double for him. He's actually his third career triple double against the Nets. He shot 71% from the field and 85% from the free throw line, getting to the free throw line 13 times. I mean, honestly, Jay, I know you've heard this over and over because we talk all the time about basketball, but just how much I love Sabonis, man. Just an animal, just a double machine on a nightly basis. He has the patience. He knows when to attack. He's able to get players in foul trouble, right? Like he was able to take Nicholas Claxton out of the game simply by putting him in foul trouble. Late in the game, the Nets had no big man to go to because Nicholas Claxton had 5 fouls coming into the fourth. And then just last thing I want to touch on really quick on the Pacers before I get to the Nets, because the second half was all the Nets. It's just a extremely disappointing game from Miles Turner, man. He only had 14 points, 4 rebounds on 3 free throw attempts. I mean, I think that's a problem when the Nets generally have no big man out there and you're only getting 3 free throw attempts. You're not being very aggressive. The Nets out rebounded the Pacers 40-34. That falls on Miles Turner. The Nets had 23 second chance points compared to the Pacers 10 second chance points. All that falls on Miles Turner's, man, because that's what he's supposed to do as the big man. He's supposed to box out. He's supposed to have the down low covered in and be on those offensive glass, man. So just overall dominant performance from the Pacers in the first half. Scored 73 points in the first half, which is actually a bit scary when you think about the fact that the Nets are allowing the Pacers to do that. And then if you think about the Pacers are on a playoff team, if you put the Nets against a real playoff team, what's their defense going to be looking like, man? But that was the first half. Let's get into the second half, Jay. Second half was all KD and the Nets, man, as KD played the entire second half. And the Nets defense just did a turnaround, man. They did a full turnaround, and I want to give that full shout out to DeAndre Bembry and Kyrie Irving, man. They were the defensive catalysts out there, man. And if you were to look at the numbers, DeAndre Bembry didn't have the greatest of games, 12 points, shot 100% from the field. But the thing is, DeAndre Bembry, all of his points came from defense, great defense. Just real quick, Jay, I just want to talk about Kyrie, because like how you said, the magician Kyrie Irving was back.
Yeah.
And honestly, it felt good. It felt good to see him. He really didn't look too out of place, which was my number one concern coming into the game. I was trying to see, well, is Kyrie Irving going to look out of place? Is he going to look like he doesn't know what he's doing? And no, he fit right in. I know he's just one of those players that it doesn't take much to implement him into your system, but he fit right in, man. He was playing more off ball as James Harden was playing more on ball, and it also was great to see the three of them out there on the court together, and James Harden, Kyrie, and KD. And honestly, Jay, I mean, overall, not the best game from Kyrie and the Nets, but they got it done, man, and they did it on good efficiency. So I'm just happy, Jay. I'm happy to see Kyrie back. The only thing the only thing I just want to highlight real quick is the fact that I don't know how useful it was to bring Kyrie Irving back in, because he can't play it in home games, and if you play a team that the vaccine is mandated in the playoffs, I mean, like, what's the point of having him there? Honestly, Jay, happy to see Kyrie Irving back, but a bit I guess concerned as to how this is going to work out going forward, because you're going to have to figure out one game plan. You can't just go, all right, Patty Mills here, all right, Kyrie Irving here. Like, you have to figure out something to keep it consistent. And I don't know if they can do that with Kyrie only playing away games.
Facts. Yeah, no, it's great to hear that recap of the game. I didn't get a chance to check it out. I will be watching it tonight after this episode. But just anytime you get a guy like Kyrie back, it's huge. And obviously, we shared the stat on the ESPN put out earlier that they are 12-4, or I believe 12-3 when they have all three of those guys playing together. So it just shows you right there. I mean, they're a significantly better team with Kyrie, no two ways about it. With all those guys healthy, that big three that they originally brought in, because like we have been saying, John, you and me, that they're the title favorite, or they're almost nearly a lock to be at least in the finals if they have all those three of those guys playing, and a pretty good shot to win it as well. But like you mentioned, if you're only playing half the games, and if you end up playing a California team, that it's bad news. And we don't know the status though. Also, if Kyrie at that point may realize it'd be the best interest of his team if he gets the vaccine. We don't even, matter of fact, we just don't know what will happen, but that is an issue, as a cause for concern. But no doubt about it, they are a better team when he's in the lineup and when he's playing for those Nets. But let's talk about a game I got to highlight it as we move on and push forward here. And that's the Golden State Warriors and the Dallas Mavericks. The Mavericks obviously pull it out in kind of a similar, almost a dominant fashion, if you want to call it, and broke away late in that game with a 99-82 game, and which is crazy, holding the prolific and powerful offense of the Golden State Warriors to 82 points is crazy, and a testament to the Mavericks defense. But let me just start it from the top and what I originally had thought going into that game. Obviously, this game, John, was the retirement of Dirk Nowitzki, the shooter, Swish 41, before that game. And I originally, when they announced it, when I was reading that this would be his retirement, I saw some videos kind of leading up to it. I was just like, man, they chose to do it Warriors. I don't think that's the greatest thing, because I think the Warriors are gonna, they're rolling, they're probably going to beat the Mavericks, right? Like I'm going into that thinking it, and I'm just thinking like they probably should have picked a different night. So I was just kind of concerned, and I was just like, I was kind of just didn't know why they would do that. But anyways, going up to the game, we heard a lot about. There's a lot of interviews about Dirk talking about his patented fadeaway. The Dirk, as hoopers know it, that one leg. Where he raises up his knee, his fadeaway, and he's talking about how he kind of at the end of his career realized he needed a move to create space, and that's when he realize that was a move. You know, when he turns his back to the basket, he's able to elevate because no one's really contesting a 7-footer, 7 foot 3 inch player's shot. It's just not happening. And that's when he kind of just realized, you know, this can make me and make my prolong my career. And that's ultimately what happened. You know, 21 years with the Mavericks, obviously the most in franchise history, and definitely, I believe, you know, top 10, top 5, if not in the league, just in history, just with one team. And he, a lot of what he talked about in that interview as well was about Steph and how he's kind of what they asked him what they thought about him and how he's changed the game and how his shot, and he's an unbelievable shooter and kind of the best to do it in his opinion. But man, Jay, he did not really exactly honor the legacy of what and all that praise that Dirk was handing out, because Steph had a almost terrible night. But a lot of what I saw in that game, man, was Luka and John. We had talked about that. Luka led the Mavericks with 26 points. The Mavericks, celebrated Dirk in that way. He was praised by Dirk as well. But in that game, John, I just saw Luka, and I just realized I was thinking something. I was watching Luka play, and this isn't summary of the game, but I was like, man, he's the most in my opinion, for me. Luka's becoming the villain more and more for me. He's kind of just unwatchable. The way he complains, the way he cries about every call, his foul baiting, and it's just really like as a star, he's probably my least favorite to watch because it's just so unwatchable. His foul baiting, his complaining every time down the floor. I don't think he's in the best shape that he can be in, and no discount to him. Like he's one of the most skilled players in the game by far. No no discounting that. I'm not discrediting that, but just I feel like he's doing it in such a cheap way that he could avoid. But anyways, those are just some key takeaways that I thought just outside the box score. That I had highlighted in that. But let's kind of talk about more about what I saw in the actual game. If we go to the box score and we look at what kind of took place in this game, and you go to the field goal percentage, and you see that the Warriors actually shot a better percentage, 40% to the Mavericks 37%. But where you see the discrepancy was uncharacteristically the Warriors and where they lost the game. Obviously, anytime you shoot 17% from 3-point line in today's game, and especially how the offense runs for the Warriors and how they're dominant shooters like Steph, Wiggins, Poole, and especially the pieces around them, going 5 for 28 from the 3-point line compared to the Mavericks 12 to 40 from the 3-point line, even an abysmal 30%, but still you're making 7 more threes than the Warriors. That just puts you, that's 21 points that you already got ahead of the Warriors. So that's another way that you're going to lose. Then you push it to the 3-point from the free throw line. The Warriors shot 11 through 16 at 68%, and the Mavericks shot 21 to 21 for 26, outshooting the Warriors by 10 free throws. So that's another way so they lost both of those battles. And the way that the games played, and both stylistically, the way that the Warriors want to play, you just can't lose the game in those categories and expect to win. In most other categories down the line, we're pretty even for the most part. Rebounds, both 46 to 46. Assists, the Warriors had 20, the Mavericks had 22. And then turnovers, obviously similar. The Warriors had 5 more turnovers, but that's just the style they play. Anytime you have a ball movement, you run the motion offense, you're going to have a lot of assists, and then you're still going to have turnovers. So there's kind of a give and take when it comes to that. Points in the paint, the Warriors dominated 54 to 36, but a lot of that was due to they weren't making shots. So the points got to come from somewhere if you're not hitting your threes, which they rely on to make a lot of the time. You got to get your points from somewhere. But those were kind of the key breakaways from the box score and the team stats. Then you look over to what the players did for each team. You look at the Warriors side of things, and you look at the man, obviously Steph going 5 for 24, from the field, 1 for 9 from the 3-point line, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. But a lot of it was to do was, they looked to him as a catalyst. And that's kind of why I talked about Clay coming back and why that's so big for the Warriors. I think that number one, Jordan Poole's not in the starting lineup. The Warriors ended up starting Stephen Curry and Gary Payton, Andrew Wiggins, Draymond Green, and Kevon Looney. And they've went to that lineup for the past 2 games since Jordan Poole has been back, and they've had everyone healthy aside from obviously Klay Thompson and James Wiseman. But they've had Andre Iguodala out and Otto Porter Jr. But I think that just having Otto Porter Jr. out was a big loss, bigger than obviously Clay's been out the whole season. But I think Otto Porter Jr. was a huge loss for the Warriors because he's been quietly been a huge reason of why they've been so successful as of late, especially coming against these tough Western Conference opponents and being able, his versatility and his ability to not only guard and his ability to knock down those corner threes. That takes a lot of pressure off guys like Steph, Poole, and Wiggins. Obviously, has been, shooting the ball at a high clip. But when you only got 2 shooters like Steph and Wiggins on the floor, that not only puts a lot of pressure on Steph to knock down his open looks, but it puts a lot of pressure when they double him. The team, the Mavericks, I saw a lot of the time were able to leave everyone aside from Andrew Wiggins, which throwing those doubles, is really tough, and you have to deal with that the whole night. So when you get open looks, maybe you don't have your legs. I'm not, that's just possibly a reason. Obviously, this is a slump is uncharacteristic for Steph, and I'm not worried about it in the future. Those are just a few things that I noticed for, that might have led to why he's been in such a slump recently. Obviously, the energy, and they didn't get really much off the bench. Poole only shot 8 shots, 6 points. They need more scoring for him. They need him to take more shots. And the rest of the bench wasn't really productive. No one from the bench was a plus in the plus minus, and you really can't win like that, especially not on the road and not against the Mavericks, who've been struggling or late. But I think anytime you have this kind of motivation, this kind of will to win with a guy like Dirk being honored, all that energy in the building, I feel like you're shooting yourselves in the foot if you're shooting such a low percentage and your star isn't really able to get his. It's not a good recipe for win. You look at the rest of it, they were able to keep it close for like 3.5 quarters. And in the fourth quarter, got away from them because they weren't hitting shots that they normally hit. And that was kind of the story of the game. Flip it to the Mavs, and real quick, all they did, players were making plays, players were making shots. And when they needed him, Tim Hardaway Jr. stepped up in that fourth quarter and was knocking down big shots, doing it all for them. Obviously, Dorian Finney-Smith, DFS, as you know him, Jay, was making plays defensively, knocking down shots, timely shots too, when they needed to close out. And that was kind of the story of the game. The bench production for the Mavericks compared to the Warriors, and then the stars, Luka Doncic showing up, Steph not showing up. And that's kind of key takeaways. Am I worried about the Steph slump? No. Does he need to fix it? Yes. And he's having a night off tonight. I know they got Dre and the rest of the guys sitting out. So let's see if this changes something moving forward, and probably look to see him back Sunday night. So as we push forward, man, just I know that was a long recap, John.
That's a great breakdown, though, Jay. That was a great breakdown.
But no, it just had to be done, man. We had to talk about what we saw in that game, man. And as we move forward to our next segment, and that's the way too early NBA segment. So let's talk about that. And NBA All-Star segment, Jay.
Let's do it, brother.
So before, just a real quick background of what we had before. John and I had discussed who we had in our East All-Stars and West All-Stars previously. So we had decided, and we've come to an agreement on 10 players, 5 from the East and 5 from the West. And then we're going to be, deciding here, John, like 7 that we have to agree with. So if we have, obviously we might have differing players for the East and the West, and we might have some just neutral ones that we automatically agree with. So I'll go first. on the East real quick, and then the West so our locks. So for the East in the guards, and let's just remember two things for those of our listeners. You can only have two guards and three forwards. So that's how we have obviously our roster and our starters equated in that sense. So first we got in the East, we have Harden, James Harden, DeMar DeRozan for the two guard spots. For the forwards, we have Giannis Antetokounmpo, Kevin Durant, and Joel Embiid for that third forward spot. In the West, we got Stephen Curry as one guard, John Morant locked as the second guard. For our forwards, we have LBJ, LeBron James, Rudy Gobert, and Nikola Jokic for our guards. I mean, honestly, I really think those players speak for themselves. A lot, John, a lot of it, what we had debate was those two guards in the East, because I think it could have gone either way. But because we were saying we were going, what was it? Levine, kind of Trey. I think you had Trey, right? You had Trey.
I had Trey at first, and then I didn't have Levine in there. I thought about putting Levine in there, but I went with DeMar over him. But I did originally have Trey, but then after we talked about it, I sat there and I looked at it. I think James Harden would get out the notch over Trey in the start. So I would go with that starting lineup that you said for both East and West. That's
because it's crazy. Yeah, because it's crazy too, because the Bulls are, I mean, you think about it like this, and this is why I think Harden, or we both agreed on Harden, was because they're West. Technically, the Nets are, I think, number one or number two. Kind of, it's going yo-yoing back and forth. So they could get two representatives in that starting lineup, or you could look at it. The Bulls are maybe first, so you could get Levine and DeMar. I mean, we've seen it happen before, so I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. But let's move to the bench of the East and let's see what we got locks there. First of all, I'll throw out a name and let's see if we're in agreement on that. Trae Young. I think he's playing at such a we're good with that.
Yeah,
he's right playing at a high level, man. He's been doing it. We've seen him improve on a lot of areas of his game. And ultimately, despite what's all been gone, he's been pretty reliable and pretty in the lineup. And despite, obviously he had COVID, he had a little bit battle with his back injury recently. But for the most part, he's been in the lineup and ready to play for the Hawks and ultimately keeping them afloat. I know they're at the kind of the 12th seed or the 13th, 11th
they're
seed.
Really low, yeah.
They're low. But I mean, even then, I would still say he's keeping them afloat and kind of in that discussion in the playing game with all the injuries and things that they've had. So it kind of speaks for itself. And even the fact that we're considering him as a starter, I think that he's a lock in that sense. But who do you think else on that bench there?
I mean, besides Trae, Trae Young, I'm right there with you. He's definitely
so that's a lock for us.
Yeah, he's kept the Hawks relevant. And then next that I would go for 100% lock is Zach LaVine. I think he absolutely needs to be locked. You there with me?
I'm right there with you, man.
Okay.
Zach LaVine's been playing this career level, bro. He's been balling.
You could make a debate for him to start, honestly.
Yeah.
You could make a debate.
No, he's a debate lock. So I guess those seven kind of that we got are debates.
Okay.
Locks
okay.
at that point.
All
Any that we consider it as starters. Yeah, Zach, LaVine, Trae Young. Yeah.
All right. Now, what about Jason Tatum?
Jason Tatum. See, that was one where
I went back and forth with it too.
I went back and forth with.
Me too.
I do ultimately think, the fact that his star power, he's kind of solidified himself as go-to option, household name in the East. I think he will get the nod ultimately. He had a very slow start to the season. We've seen him kind of pick it up towards the end. But then I'm thinking just the way where it sits, and if you want to go by a record and this sort of thing, I think if Tatum gets in, Brown doesn't. So that's where I'm kind of I'm a little bit, I'm kind of tossing and turning on that one, because I think the Celtics and the way that their season has, turned out to this point, I don't see two of them getting in. So it's a question of, are you feeling Tatum over Brown? Because I personally don't think two of them are getting in, but maybe. Why are you feeling on it?
That's tough, Jay. That's tough. I mean, now that you break it down that way, I mean, that's a good point as to like if both of them could get in with the Celtics struggling with the way they've been struggling. But I mean, realistically, Jay, if I'm gonna have to give an answer that like if I had put my money on the line for or who I think would get picked, I think it'd be Jason Tatum. I think it's
Right.
not only is it like talent, but I think it's also a bit of a popularity contest. It's how much you've established yourself, and we know Jason Tatum, the light skin with the leg tats, and you know what I'm saying, all that. So I think he's definitely established, and like how you said, Jay, he's definitely got off to a slow start, but he's as of late started to pick it up, and the Celtics are starting to do a little bit better. I mean, you're right now sitting in that 10 seed, but I would. Oh my God, Jay. Oh my God. It hurts my heart to leave Jaylen Brown out, man. It hurts my heart. But I think I would have to because I don't think I'm going to be able to leave Jason Tatum out and keep Brown in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's so tough. I think both are deserving in a sense, but I think just the ultimate fact is, and you got to look at it like this, Jay, is you're the 10th seed. You're barely in the playing game right now. You're tied with the New York Knicks for that 10 and 11 spot right now. And if you're gonna look at it like that, I think that you got to get one from the Wizards on there. In my opinion, you got to get one from the Hornets. You got to get one from the Wizards. From the Raptors. You got to get one from the Cavs. You got to get one from the Sixers, who we already have. Jimmy, I think, is a lock. Obviously, Giannis. KD, Harden, and you got Zach LaVine and DeMar. So that's already a lot of players that you got right there. So I think only one from the Celtics, and you already got Trey sitting there in the 12th seed. So those are players who are ultimately locks, in our opinion.
Now let me ask you, Jay, hold on, because you just said something that was interesting. You said you got to get one from the Raptors and the Hornets. Okay, the Hornets, I thought about. I really wanted to put LaMelo or Miles Bridges. They didn't ultimately end up making it for me. But the Hornets, I didn't. I mean, the Raptors, that didn't even cross my mind. Who did you have on the Raptors?
I got Frederico VanVleet playing career basketball, putting those questions to bed if he could take over this team after Kyle Lowry left. Because he's got him sitting one game over 500 right now, playing the best basketball of the season. And a lot of that's to do with Fred, because he's just ultimately stepped into this leadership role where he's able to now facilitate. He's looking for his own. I think at the beginning of the season, he was kind of just getting used to distributing, getting his young guys involved. They obviously had a lot of guys out, but now we're really starting to see what he can do in that lineup. When they got Gary Trent out there, they got all their starters. They got OG Anunoby, they got Scotty Barnes, and they got Pascal Siakam kind of playing small, if you want to call that. And all those versatile bigs are all around that rangy, kind of lanky 6'8" to 6'10", 6'11", whatever Pascal is. And he's able to get a lot of open looks, and we see what his range he can do. He's averaging, a career high, I believe, in points, assists, and rebounds, just doing it all and playing great defense. So I think he's kind of a lock to me, man. Not a lock, but I think I really vouching for him and would like to see him in the All-Star game. He ain't getting no love. Obviously, they released the standings and the votes for the fan votes, but he's not getting no love in that sense, which I'm surprised, honestly. I'm surprised Canada hasn't turned up. Toronto hasn't turned up.
Come on, Jay.
Put him on, yeah. But no, I've seen him just doing it. That's who I got up. Fred.
I like that. Honestly, I like that, Jay. Honestly, I really do like that. Now that you talk me through it, I really do like that. I mean, especially thinking about the fact that the Raptors are on a 4-game winning streak, and I mean, did nobody really expect them to be sitting at this 7th seed on a 4-game winning streak? So I really do like that, Jay. But let me just ask you something then real quick. Would you rather have Fred or would you rather have Jared Allen?
See, I don't think if I gotta choose the two, I think Jared Allen's a lot, like
A lock, right?
almost a lock. I think he's
Okay,
almost a lock.
me too.
So right now, look at what we got right now. So we have for sure Harden. We got DeMar, Giannis, KD. We got Trey Young. We got Levine. We got Tatum as locks, right?
Yeah, and Joel. I think you skipped Joel.
So I skipped Joel. Yeah, Joel as locks. So that means how much we got left after that?
So we got Harden, DeMar, Giannis, KD, Joel, Trey, Levine, Tatum. So we have three more after that. We got three more
after that.
Three more, Jay. Bradley Beal has to make it.
Bradley Beal, ooh.
What?
See, Bradley Beal has to make it. Bradley Beal has to make it.
So we have
and
two more
spots.
spots.
Jimmy's a lock.
Jimmy's a lock. Okay, Jimmy's a lock. So
I think Jimmy's a lock.
So that last spot goes to Jared Allen or goes to Fred? Because I agree with you. Jimmy and Beal have to make it, no doubt about it.
So it's got to be Fred, right? Or so it's got to be Jared Allen, right?
I think I would go with Jared Allen, man. The fourth seed, especially your Cavs, Jay.
Yeah, I think you got to go with Jared Allen, right?
Sheesh. I think you got to. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean,
and it's crazy because it's crazy too because Darius Garland is also deserving, man. But there's ultimately going to be a player who's snubbed, and it could be now. Like I could see it in a way that Darius Garland doesn't get a nod where he's deserving, but then he makes it the next season. I feel like a lot of times when you see those young and up and coming stars and up and coming players who are deserving that year, but then they don't get the nod the next year until they get that recognition where, oh man, he's a serious snub. Why isn't he an all-star, right? We see in that few years, like 5-4, something with Dame, right? Remember
Dame,
that?
Yep. But Dame was kept getting
that snub. Yep. Mm-hmm. And then they finally made it in. I think it's once you get that clout, that first recognition, you get that first all-star berth, then it's like, or even that recognition where you're almost just like very like right under short. Then it's when you make it there.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. All right, Jay. So that's a solid. So let me read off who we have for 100% locks for the East. Then so we got Harden, DeMar, Giannis, KD, Joel. That's our starting lineup. And then for the bench, we got the Trey Young, Zach LaVine, Jason Tatum, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, and Jared Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm right there with you, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you.
All right. So we good for the East then.
All right. So let's go
to
the West.
We got our West locked down. So you talk to me first. Like we got our
backcourt
locked in. we got our backcourt locked. We got our backcourt locked in. We got Curry, Ja, and then we got our front court locked in with LBJ, Rudy, the Joker. And then the lock for me, I think defensive player of the year, Draymond Green. Lock for me. He's a lock for me. Like he's a type of, Quinn Snyder said it the best. Like he's the type of player that isn't going to get the recognition just because of play, like his points and what he's doing up. But he's the type of guy. He's not going to get it because of that. But he's doing. If you watch the Warriors play and the reason that they're successful. He's putting the guys in the right positions. A triple-double threat on any night if he had the points that were there, right? So, and they're the best team in the league and in the West. So I think he's a lock. Warriors for sure are going to get two representatives. In my opinion, Wiggins should be. But I could see other reasons why he wouldn't. So I'm not going to put him on my list. But I think he's right, kind of in that Darius Garland, Frederico Van Vliet. Situation where he's right on that brink. He should potentially be it, but he won't get that nod until the next year. And that's how I'm feeling. But Curry, Dre, for me, locks this year for the All-Star game.
Okay. So Draymond and Wiggins, definitely huge, respectable picks. But the thing is, for me, the only reason why I can't put them as a lock is because of the other players who are going to come before them. Now, for me, in my opinion, Draymond and Wiggins might fall into that Fred Van Vliet, where it's like they could get in there, but I don't know if we're gonna have enough spots left. So let me just go with my first lock off the rip. My first lock off the rip, I know you're not gonna like this, Jay, is Luka Doncic. My first lock off the rip is Luka. Got to have Luka in there, man.
Nah,
Huge point guard. Does it all out there.
Luka for sure will make it. I think
Okay.
Luka, yeah, he's a lock. Like he could have been a starter. Wish he wouldn't be a starter, but yeah, no, I mean, I think he's for sure a lock. Like he's got the popularity, he's got the
Talent.
he's got the stats to back it up. Not the biggest fan, but you give credit where his credit's due. So he's a lock, in my opinion. I think for sure you got to get in CP3. He's playing at a high elite level, setting his guys up, getting them there.
So we got 6 right. We're at 6 right now.
Mm-hmm. Who else you got?
So those are. I also have CP3 as a lock. Donovan Mitchell. Do you have him as a lock?
Donovan Mitchell. I'm as a lock.
Okay, yeah. I have him as a lock as well. So we have 7 locks. Devin Booker. Do you have him as a lock?
Devin Booker. Yeah, I got D Book in.
Okay, I got D Book as a lock as well. Karl Anthony Towns.
Nah, I think because remember this, like reserves when they come down, it comes down to coaches. I think the coaches are for sure giving Draymond the nod before they give Cat. I think you gotta put it in the sense, John, that you're the number one team, you're the number one seed in the West, you're best team in the league. Like that comes into consideration for them. If you're gonna give the Suns their two best players this season, bursts and nods. But you got to give the Warriors.
But Clay would have made it if like I think Clay would have easily made it if he was just playing all season, and it would have been easily the same way, right? Like the way it's CP and B Book, it'd be Curry and Clay.
Nah, I think Draymond's the defensive player of the year, man. Like he's the number one player in the standings for a reason. So you can't leave a guy like that. He's the reason that the Warriors are so successful, because we've seen that against the Miami Heat when he against the Utah Jazz when he wasn't on the floor, and how the Jazz were able to operate and get looks that they wouldn't have gotten because he wasn't on the floor, wasn't able to direct traffic, and not only be places that other guys on the team wouldn't be able to be. And he's so influential and successful to the Warriors and what they do. I think he has to be a lock for the All-Star game, man, especially over a guy like Cat. He just got to be in the game, man. Like I think he's a lock in my opinion. I think the coaches, they have a chance, and they are able to choose the reserves. And I think there's no way they leave Draymond off that list.
All everything that you said was true as far as Draymond Green and his importance to the team, man. But I just think Cat's importance to the team is huger, is bigger in my opinion than Draymond's importance to the Warriors. If you take Draymond Green out the Warriors, yes, I agree. The Warriors aren't as good of a team, but they don't drop to like the worst team in the league. You take Karl Anthony Towns out of the Wolves, like they are not even a G League team. And Karl Anthony Towns, and I definitely hear you. I definitely hear what you're saying about Draymond Green and his importance, and like especially when you look to that Jazz game, man. But I mean, Cat also brings it on defense, brings it on offense, brings it on the efficiency end, can shoot it. I don't know, Jay. I don't know if I can leave Cat out. I hear you. I definitely hear what you're saying.
I hear all you're saying. I just say NBA.com, and in my opinion, and a lot of experts, a lot of coaches, the defensive player of the year, who I think he ultimately will get the defensive player of the year. I just don't see him not being an all-star. So that's all I think. He's got to be a lock. So, who else? Who's the rest of your list then?
I have one player who, honestly,
because I want to know the rest of your list if he's not a lock.
I have one player because I only have 2 more spots after Cat. I have one player who could go or could not go. Actually, he won't go now that I said Karl Anthony Towns. Anthony Edwards. But that's you got to look at
Hell
dog.
no. Over
I know,
Draymond Green?
I know.
Absolutely not.
Now that I
Absolutely
said Karl
not.
Anthony Towns, now that I said Karl Anthony Towns, I agree. Two players from the Wolves aren't going to go, and then not have two players from the Warriors go, with the Warriors being number one seed. I agree with you over that. But Anthony Edwards has been having a crazy season, and he plays a different position than Draymond Green, so he wouldn't get called up for that position. Right. But now that I've already said Karl Anthony Towns, there's no way that two of the 10th seed Minnesota Timberwolves are going to get called up to go. So I take that out. I did this kind of without thinking the cat. So I take that out. But Anthony Edwards is definitely very deserving, bro. He's been having a great season, a better season in my opinion than Freddie over there. So I think he's very deserving.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. And my guy Ant. But all right, but all right. I'll take Ant out, and I'll put Draymond Green. All right, and then I have Dame. Do you got Damon?
I don't got Dame. I don't got Dame over PG. Over PG. I got PG over Dame.
A hurt PG?
Or even I got PG or even A Wiggs, like PG or A Wiggs over Dame. I don't think Dame's deserving. He's missed too many games. Even when he hasn't been playing his best basketball or all-star level until recently. So I think if you look at the body of the work, and you leave it up to the coaches, I don't think Dame's an all-star. Maybe off his name recognition, if you want to give, which could be the case.
Which
in my opinion,
that's what I think.
I don't think he's an all-star.
I think realistically, I think he gets it off of that and off of the fact that he's been disrespected so many times, and the fact that he's shown up that many times, and yes, he got off to a terribly slow start, but he's really started to pick it back up, man. But man, Jay, this year is going to be crazy, Jay. There's going to be a lot of snubs this year, dog. Like there's going to be a lot of snubs.
There's a lot of deserving players that won't get the look, but if Dame makes it over PG or
but even
guys that are
PG?
deserving, but there could be a replacement. Like you say a guy like Ant, or you say a guy like, I don't know, who's deserving, like a second option, like a KP, or even like a Wiggins. I think those kind of guys will be injury fill-ins, because there might be guys that we look at right now. We don't know what the situation will be with COVID at the time, if there need to be a replacement. So there's going to be some guys who may get the nod just because of injuries, and we can't foresee the future in that sort of sense. So so maybe some guys who wouldn't have got the nod this year or in past years will get the nod and be able to fill in that sense of role. So I think it'll be a win-win in that sort of situation. So we'll see, though, bro. Man,
this is gonna be crazy, Jay.
It's a crazy year. So let's lock it in for the East.
All right. So
I'm sorry, for the West.
For the West. All right.
The Western.
Here we go. We have Curry, John Morant, LeBron James, Rudy Gobert, Joker, Luka.
Yep.
Chris Paul, Donovan Mitchell, Devin Booker, Karl Anthony Towns, Draymond Green, and then who are we going with that last spot? I don't know if I could, because I wanted to put Wiggs, but I don't know if I could put Wiggs over Ant. Ant's averaging more points. He's averaging more assists, more steals on, I don't want to misspeak on the free throw percentage, on better free throw percentage. Yes, he's on a worser team, but I don't think that like the Warriors being the number one seed is like, wow, like Andrew Wiggins is like the reason we're here. You know what I'm saying?
He's a huge reason why.
He's a huge reason.
He's a huge reason,
but he's not.
I don't see the Timberwolves getting two players. Like ultimately, it'll come down to the sense that you're either getting PG if he's back and he's healthy by that time, he'll be there. Or I think Wiggins, the Warriors are the reason why they've been so successful. There's been times, man, where even against the Timberwolves, like this guy showed out and was the reason that they won. Like that, he's been on that streak and he's been on that run since he played the Timberwolves. Been playing the most efficient basketball of his career. He's been taking the best looks. He's shooting the highest percentage. from three in his career, and just like he's a career resurgence, and I could see him making it in that last spot. And I don't see the Timberwolves sitting at the ninth seed at 8, below 2 games below 500. It's unrealistic for us to sit here and say that they'll get 2 entries for All-Star game.
3 entries for Andrew Wiggins, who, yes, he's been vital, but he's not the reason, right? Like, you take Andrew Wiggins out of that Warriors team, I think they're still sitting at that number 1 or 2 seed.
I don't think they're 29 and 8. I think they're maybe
they're still
a little
sitting
below
at the
that.
1. They're still sitting at the 1 and 2 though, right?
I can't say that for sure. I think he's been so instrumental for why they've been so successful this year that I don't see them as the same team. And the leap that he's taken this year, I would have him as that in that last spot over Ant.
Jay, we're gonna have to just leave it up to the fans. Jay, I'm going Anthony Edwards. You're going Andrew Wiggins. The fans, you decide, man. You guys blow us up in the comments. You guys blow us up on Instagram, on podcast reviews. Let us know, Anthony Edwards, Andrew Wiggins, or is it somebody else, or is it Dame, or do you guys want to see Dame? Who is it? Because we can't come to a consensus here, Jay. Can't come.
Yeah, who's that last spot? Who you got?
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. All right, Jay. Well, that was fun. So there you have it. Our East and West teams with a little bit of change for y'all to decide. But let's talk about the games. Our last segment of the day, and that's games. Our favorite part. And our game picks for when you're listening to this, January 7th. Friday, January 7th, and there's a lot of games on the slate, man. A lot of basketball. And the last game, so the first game of the night is between the 14 and 20 San Antonio Spurs and the 19 and 16 Philadelphia 76ers. Who you got in that, Jay?
I got to go 76ers on that, man. They're on a 5-game winning streak. I think Joel Embiid gonna keep it going.
Okay. I can't. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Sixers in that one as well. At Philadelphia too, we know how that crowd is. Mm-hmm. Let's go to a game that lost a little thunder ultimately, in my opinion, and that's the Milwaukee Bucks in Brooklyn with Kyrie on the floor. Like, that's a storybook, huge matchup, title fight. But it's gonna be unfortunate that we don't got Drew Holiday in that. The Bucks without Drew. So that kind of changes things in who we got. I already think I know who you got. Who you got in that between the Bucks and the Nets?
I'm gonna go with the Nets on that one, man. I think the Nets are just pissed off at what happened last year, and now they have a chance to play the Bucks. And then, man, they're coming. I'm going with the Nets. What about you, Jay? You too?
Yeah, I'm with the Nets. They were a Kyrie rolled ankle away, a KD inch away from being in the finals. So yeah, I'm going with the Nets in that. That's a revenge game, if you want to call it that. The next game we got 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The Utah Jazz visiting the Toronto Raptors with no fans. Fun. Who you got in that one? Jazz probably without Rudy Gobert as well. Ooh. Without Rudy Gobert and COVID health safety protocols.
I'm gonna go with the Raptors on this one, man. I'm gonna go just because the Jazz really tend to really struggle with Rudy Gobert, and when he's out, they struggle on both offense and defense, like majorly, since he does so much. So I'm gonna go with the Raptors on this one. What about you, Jay?
I'm gonna go with the Raptors as well, man. I think they're playing great basketball. They knocked off the Bucks last night. Huge win for them. I think they're gonna continue to keep it rolling, man. That was the game that everyone had kind of marked down to see if they're truly back and making a run with all their guys healthy. Kind of similar to a team that we kind of envisioned before the season started, a team that, had a bit of that championship DNA left. And it's true that we're kind of seeing that on the forefront now. So I'm going with the Raptors, long story short. Okay. But let's go to the next game, the fourth game of the night, and that's your Minnesota Timberwolves versus the Oklahoma City Thunder. My guys, Jay's.
I thought you were going to talk about the Bulls. I thought you were
going to talk about the Bulls. No. That's your second West team, is it?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
T-Wolves, yeah. But who you got in that versus the mighty Thunder, Jay?
Oh man, I'm gonna go with the star-studded Timberwolves, Jay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves on that one, Jay. What about you?
I'm gonna go with the Timberwolves, but I will say this about the Thunder, man. They're one of those teams, even though they're young, and obviously, they're not really playing anything. They aren't playing anything. Not really. They are not playing for anything. They're developing young guys. They got a star. I think on any given night, I don't want to go up against them because number one, ultimately you see the 13-22 Thunder, and I'll already say this that at this point in the season, I know for a fact they did not think they would win 13 games. I think that's ultimately they got to dial it back, man. They're only 9 games below 500. Management's got to be like, whoa, y'all need to relax,
stop winning
start
so
losing
much.
some
Relax.
games, man. Yeah. But I don't think anyone in the league honestly wants to play the Thunder. And y'all may laugh and when I say that, the Thunder play hard every night. They got nothing to lose, and that's honestly the scariest team. I always say this, Jay. I'd rather hunt than be hunted, and that's exactly how the Thunder feel night to night, man. So let's push it to the next game though. 8 p.m. Eastern. Washington Wizards 18-17 versus your Chicago Bulls at 23-10. Jay, your East squad. Who you got in that one?
You already know I'm rocking with the Bulls on that one, Jay.
Yep, you got the Bulls. I'm gonna go with the Bulls in that one as well. I think they're playing great basketball. They got their guys back. Zoe's back in the lineup, and I think they're just gonna. I think they're gonna win big. They won. It was close there in Washington with the DeMar buzzer beater, but they got all the squad back. They're back at the United Center. They're ready to roll. Bulls big in that one. Next game, 8 p.m. Eastern. We got the Dallas Mavericks at the Houston Rockets. We got in that one, Jay.
I got the Mavs on that one, Jake. The Rockets just struggling, dog. And just got to go with the Mavs on that one.
Yeah, I got the Mavericks in that one as well, despite the Kevin Porter Jr. buzzer beater last night. All right, next game we got is the Sacramento Kings versus at the Denver Nuggets. We got in that one.
Denver Nuggets, man. That Jokic boy.
Yeah, I got Denver in that one as well. Joker time. The next game we got the Atlanta Hawks at your Los Angeles Lakers at the Crypto.com arena.
I gotta go with the Lakers, Jay. I can't go against my team, man.
Lakers. I gotta go the other way. I gotta backflip. I can't trust the Lakers. I think it's gonna be a battle of Trey and Bron. If Bron gets some help, then I'm gonna go with the Lakers, but I don't trust that enough, so I'm gonna go with the Hawks in that one. Next one is the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the bumbling Portland Trail Blazers in Portland. Who you got in that one, Jay? My East squad. If you want to call it that, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
I gotta go with your East squad, Jay. Your East squad, the Cleveland Cavaliers, man. I'm gonna have them fumbling and bumbling the Portland Trail Blazers into a win there.
Yeah, I got the Cavs in that one as well. I think they're playing great basketball. I think they're ready, hungry. And I will say this though, just to clarify, when we say our team, these are teams like we enjoy watching.
Yeah,
we're not like crazy rooting for them. We're not like fans of the Bulls and the Cavs. We
just like to see
Warriors them play. We like enjoy watching their games, man. We like to just NBA basketball in general.
There's just certain players. I mean, bro, Darius Garland is different, bro. Darius Garland comes different. The Bulls, I mean, DeMar, Zach, that whole team. Absolutely. I mean, we just like watching it.
Yeah, no, facts. We just love basketball.
We just love basketball. I love basketball.
Yeah. So that wraps us up, man. Jay, as usual, John, pleasure. It was fun talking ball, man. And for those of the fans, appreciate the support. Appreciate you rocking with us. Our understanding of our technical difficulties that we had the past couple week. And as usual, follow us on Instagram, Twitter at Clutch Talk Pod, TikTok there as well. YouTube, just Clutch Talk, CLUTCH, capital TALK. Get at us on all those forums, debate, comment, like, subscribe on YouTube. on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Leave us a like, rating, 5-star. You know what it is. And just continue interacting with us. We love when you give us some comments, suggestions. Check in with us, vote on our stories. We're always putting up polls on there for you to interact with. So just get us, man. Appreciate the support and love as always, man. So that's it for me. Jay, you got anything to say?
Shit, I ain't got nothing to say, Jay. You close it out amazing, brother.
All right, man. All right, then. Clutch Talk. We out. Peace.